World Cup is approaching its climax. Final is next Sunday, of course. But before we get to the final, we've got the semi-finals. Argentina will play Croatia. That's on Tuesday night. And on Wednesday night, France will play Morocco. I think we all feel it's been a great tournament and particularly interesting for the performances of lesser nations traditionally in football, such as Japan, Morocco, who are actually in the semi-final, having conceded only one goal, and that was an own goal. So, and of course, England went out last night, and it's a great pleasure to welcome John Giles and Liam Brady again, two of our greatest ever players, two of the greatest ever players anywhere, and of course, two of the great analysts of the game. Liam, let me start with you about England and France. I thought, John has been talking up England all along and has got everything right, including Griezmann. It was a very, very good game, wasn't it, Liam, between two very, very good sides?
Yeah, I thought it was the best game of the tournament so far.
Yeah.
It was going both ways, wasn't it?
Yes.
Both teams were always in it. You could say both teams were playing well. There was a great contest on the left wing for France, Mbappe against Walker, and you'd have to say Walker did a brilliant job on him. Kept him quiet, so that was a real fascinating watch, that side of things. England started, as they have done quite often in this tournament, a little bit cautiously. But when they went a goal behind, they came on strong. I'd have to say, I thought the referee was very poor.
He was terrible. And by the way, the latest news is people thought he'd be sent home to Brazil, but he's not been sent home. The English referee, in fact, has been sent home, and he's stayed. And it isn't inconceivable that, as one of the few referees that's left in the pool, he may get the final, which would be disgraceful. He was.
Well, I thought he got an awful lot wrong, Eamon. He got a foul on Saka wrong. He didn't give it. That was, led up to the French goal. Within 30 seconds or a minute, the ball was in the England net. Saka should have had a free kick. He didn't want to give the penalty on Mason Mount, which was quite obviously a stonewall penalty. So I thought he got an awful lot wrong. In France's favour, I have to say.
Yes,
I thought England were a bit unlucky. Who would have expected Harry Kane to miss that? If he knocks that goal in 2-2, England were on top. They were looking good. It was a great game, though, Eamon. And France are in it. Griezmann, as we've been talking about, John has been raving about him. He put a great ball in for Giroud to get the winning goal. A great game. A bit sorry to see England go out the way they did.
Yes, I was sorry to see England go out the way they did, and the English were. And here, where there's a kind of anti-English bias, there's nothing heavy. But even here, people were sorry to see them go out. There was an incident, John, a penalty claim in the first half. I'm certain it was a penalty to England. It was inside the box. There were two fouls in it. The first was outside the box. Second was inside the box. In my view, he didn't give it, even if it wasn't inside the box, certainly on the 18-yard line in the first half. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I do. Eamon.
What did you think of that? He didn't get the ball, the defender. He just got Harry Kane.
Yeah, it looked like a penalty, Eamon, on it. But the referee who does VAR, the English guy, said afterwards, whatever way he came around it, it wasn't a penalty.
I think the penalty to me just outside the box.
That's
John.
right. The first foul was outside the box.
I think they decided not to give it because of that reason.
Right. Okay, just to continue, John, you've been talking up England from the start. I'm sure you will agree with Liam and me that this was a really good game between two very good sides.
Oh, yeah, it was a terrific game, Eamon. And when you certainly, if you were predicting it beforehand and Harry Kane got a penalty, you put your money on it, you put your life on it at that particular time.
Yeah.
And I think had he scored from that penalty, I think they would have gone on to win it.
Yes.
Because they were on the up and up, England, at that particular stage. And I mean, it was a bad miss by Harry Kane. There's no doubt about that.
A lot of pressure on it, John. Particularly
a lot of pressure on it, Eamon.
With the goalkeeper
I was just thinking afterwards. Eamon, if sometimes in a match like that, having the second penalty, could you possibly have somebody else to take the second penalty?
Yes. Yeah. It's
you know what I mean?
Yeah, particularly when...
just to be, like, especially at that stage, like this, in that particular competition, that you have it second, just in case the manager could make the decision, Eamon,
The other factor in that equation, well, the goalkeeper from his own club, who he probably has taken hundreds of penalties against in practice maybe, but just on Harry Kane, I'd like to ask you and Liam, he's a great pro. I think he's a really very close to a great player. He will be remembered. He equalled Wayne Rooney's record of 53 goals for England with his first penalty, actually. He would have, if the second one. He's been a marvellous player, a great leader. He seems like a terrific lad. And this was really tough, wasn't it? This will scar him. It will scar his memory for a long time.
Yeah, well, it happens, Eamon, as you know. Like his penalty taking has been terrific. It happens to any player, the best of them. I mean, we had Messi early on getting 2 penalties, and he no problem knocking away. But you'd have put a lot of money on Harry Kane getting the penalty. I think he's been a terrific lad. I think he's got better as he's got older, Eamon.
Yes.
And if he's not great, he's not far off it.
Right. Liam, Messi missed a penalty early on against Chesney. He's, I think, Polish goalkeeper. So any player can miss a penalty. Just to go back a bit, Liam, I thought England played very well all along. Now, when France scored their second goal, Giroud's goal, I thought Gareth Southgate made very quick substitutions. One of them was a big mistake, Saka. He took Saka off, and Saka was really doing damage, and he actually won the penalty for Harry Kane, the first one. To take him off, I think, was a mistake. He also took Henderson off at the same time. It was a double substitution, and I thought Henderson and Saka were linking up really well. But I thought he should have let things settle and let England come back the way they had done. Would you agree about Saka, for example?
Yeah, well, certainly Sterling coming on didn't help England at all, and Saka was having an impact down that right-hand side, cutting in on his left, as you say. He got the penalty, Eamon. He could have left it a bit longer, but when you're in the manager's seat, it's not easy, is it?
No.
You say, I need some goals, I need fresh legs and fresh players, and Sterling can be dangerous on his day, and he put on another forward. I think it was Grealish came on as well. He was chasing it. I wouldn't blame him for that. No. It could have gone his way. As we say, if Harry Kane knocks it in, it's game on again. And the French are a fine team. The Griezmann, the midfield was a bit better, I thought, this time round. Great goal the midfielder got. Griezmann again had an impact. Not quite as dominant as he has been in other games, but the England defence were vigilant. They were good, and Rice, I thought, had a really good game.
I thought he was the best player on the field, Liam.
Yeah, I thought he was really good. He was breaking things up and then breaking forward. I thought it was a terrific match, and it was a shame to see any of the teams lose. But I just have a bit of a sour taste in my mouth about the referee. I don't know. I'm just wondering, do they want Mbappe against Messi final? You know what I mean?
Yes, I do know what you mean.
I always have suspicions about FIFA.
Yep.
I really do.
And there's one other factor, John, and Liam, I put it to both of you. When the VAR decision was being made, they didn't let us see, as they do in the Premier League and everywhere else, and in every other sport, they didn't let the spectators and television viewers see what had happened. So it happened in a kind of vacuum. FIFA wouldn't let us see the replay so we could have an opinion on it, which was a bit sort of, there's something dirty in there. There's no doubt about FIFA and dirt. Just to go back to England again to both of you. John, Bellingham, I think we all agree he's a gifted lad in terms technically and that, but he was a bit lost the other night. And you've been pointing this out from the start, that for all the talent that he has, his positional sense is way off, and he doesn't appear to know how to get into a game.
Yeah, I do feel that, Eamon. What I do say too, he's very, very young.
Yeah, he's only 19.
He's only 19.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I've seen of him, he doesn't have any positional sense. That's my take on him now. Now, whether he gets that as he gets older remains to be seen, because he gets very much ahead of the ball. When he's near the ball, he's very, very good. His control is good. He'll get your goal. But if you have the ability, you have to be able to use it.
Yes.
In other words, positional sense gives you an opportunity because there's 20 players on the pitch, and everybody is obviously looking to get the ball. And you have to have positional sense to make the ball come to you rather than waiting for it to come to you, or if you get in bad positions. Now, whether he learns that or not, because when he gets it, he's very, very good. But you have to get it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he is a midfield player. He mightn't be a Modric or that in years to come. But he has to learn to get in a positional sense, to make the runs at the right time. When I see him playing, most of the time, when England have the ball, he's ahead of the ball. Now, sometimes that's right, but a lot of times it's wrong. So he's got to learn when is the best time to go forward, when to get back. And that's called positional sense. I don't see that in him at the moment.
Yes.
And like the papers have been on about him being this, that, and he's very good. He's a very promising player. What he does very, very well. But he needs to learn to be able to do that, and he has to get that. He has to learn that.
Yeah, I mean, Liam, the British papers now are talking about his fee having gone up by 50 million because of this World Cup he's had, and he started, so he's clearly in the games, so he's clearly impressed Gareth Southgate. Your take on Bellingham, Liam? And the other question I'd link to that is knowing how to get into position to receive the ball, how to find those spaces. Is that something you learn, or is it something innately that you have?
Well, it can be coached into you, Eamon. You know, I remember when I started off playing with John. You know, I was only 18, and John was 30 odd. You know, and he'd been in the game a lifetime, as football terms. And he would tell me where to be and where to go. So people can coach it into you, and you can learn from experience. But John is absolutely spot on. You know, he gets far too quickly. He moves forward, and he gets in positions where you just can't find him. You know, he's in amongst bodies. You can't do it. Yeah. He's a bit of a free spirit, but. You know, he has to learn if he wants to have more influence on the game, and he didn't have a lot of influence on the game against the French compared to previous games in the tournament. And if he wants to learn that, he has to get in areas where he can receive the ball, either by going forward late, or timing his runs. He reminds me, going back in the day, Eamon, a bit of a Terry McDermott. You know,
I remember Terry McDermott. Liverpool,
where he would burst into the box at the right time. He was brilliant at it, McDermott. Yeah. I think he's going to be one of those midfield players. Yeah. But he's not doing it quite right yet, you know. But as John said, he's 19. Maybe by the time he's 21, he'll have that ability as well. Time is on his side.
Right. Just let's return to Mbappe and Kyle Walker. Everyone was saying that it was a big job Kyle Walker had, and it undoubtedly was a big job. I thought Kyle Walker had him wrapped up. I thought Mbappe made no contribution to France at all, presented no threat at all. Put that to you, John.
Yeah, he didn't have a good game, Eamon.
No.
Well, first of all, I'll say in his favour, I don't think he's a left winger.
Right.
Eamon.
Yep.
I think he's a centre forward.
Yeah.
And because they have him playing on the left wing, and again, his positional sense on the left wing is not very good. But I don't think he's a natural winger.
Right.
And like Walker is a very difficult player to play against as well. As we know, he's very quick and he's very aggressive.
He's a player but we've both been critical of in our time talking while we're watching television matches. But Pep Guardiola has slowed him down. He doesn't go charging forward like a headbanger anymore. He actually plays like a fullback and uses his pace from that position occasionally.
Yeah, I think also when he's playing against Mbappe, I mean, he has to stay back.
Yeah, no question.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's no questions about it. Like, quite rightly as well, you can't go running wild when you've got a player like Mbappe. From Mbappe's point of view, I don't think he's a left winger. I think he's a centre forward. And again, his position as left wing is not very good. But Walker did do a good job on him.
Yep.
There's no doubt about that.
Liam Mbappe.
You're very harsh on him, Eamon. You really are.
Well, hold on now.
You really got it in for him. I don't know what he's done to you, but you really got it into him. I thought he played all right, but I thought Walker kept him under wraps. You know,
yes.
He couldn't get past Walker. He couldn't burst past Walker because Walker could match him for pace and for strength and for power.
Yeah.
But otherwise, he contributed to his team. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
I wouldn't pan him like you're panning him.
Well, I'm not panning him. I'm just saying.
But you said
Walker
he didn't make any contribution at all.
I didn't think he did on the night.
Well, I thought he played all right. You know, he wasn't a star man by any means, but you have to give credit to Walker for doing the job he did.
Okay, I accept that rebuke. No, we all have our views, and we'll see how it pans out because they have a big match to come, and we'll get to that in a minute. So I think we all agree England were unlucky. It was sad to see it, and I hope Gareth Southgate stays, although he is extremely cautious, but I think he's really done quite a good job. Let's move on to the other game that was fascinating, and this is Morocco and Portugal. John?
Yeah.
Morocco, they've only conceded one goal in the tournament, and that was an own goal. They beat Belgium 2-0. They beat Portugal 1-0. They beat Spain on penalties. They're a bloody good side. Now, you've been watching them quite a bit. How difficult will they be for France?
I think it'll be very difficult for them, Eamon. I think it'll be very difficult for any team because their attitude is great. They work really, really hard, and as most good teams do. Was like even the other night, Eamon, they went down. They were a man down.
Yeah.
Like Portugal, we know, are a very, very good team. They scored an excellent goal.
Yeah, and Nesri scored the goal. He climbed like a beautiful and steered it into the net. Yeah,
brilliant. Well, what I noticed with them, I mean, even when they were up against it, when they got the ball, they went for it.
Yes.
There was no sitting back all the time. In fact, I think without a few minutes from the end, they got through.
They did,
on the goalkeeper. One-on-one on the goalkeeper.
Yeah, he should have scored.
He should have scored. But the fact that they were trying to do that at that particular stage, I mean, you know, what we've seen from most of the teams, vast majority of teams, they sit back and have all the men back and just hope to win it out, you know? They don't do that. I mean, wherever the coach is, he has to be a brilliant coach to be doing what he's doing with them. Yeah. Which means, in other words, if we would get a goal, if we're a goal in front, it doesn't mean we're going to sit on it.
Right.
We're going to go at the opposition when it's right to do so.
Yeah.
This team will take a bit of beating, Eamon. There's no doubt about it.
I totally agree.
As you say so far, is fantastic. You know, this is going to be a very, very difficult match.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that for France.
I totally agree, and that's a given, I think. Liam, Portugal just beaten Switzerland 6-1. They really have some outstanding players. Bernardo Silva, well, you can go through a whole list of them, and that young lad who came on in place of Ronaldo against Switzerland and scored a hat-trick. What have you made of what you've seen of Morocco, Liam?
Well, just like John, a very, very impressive physical team. They seem to be all big, strong lads. They're very, very organised. They work together. The lad in front of the back four, Amrabat, the lad with the shaven head, he's been... what a player he looks, you know. He plays for Fiorentina in Italy.
Yes.
But, you know, he's all go. He's stopping players. He's breaking, as John says. When they get the ball, they're not frightened to attack. They've got Hakimi, who plays for Paris Saint-Germain. He'll be up against Mbappe. That's going to be a fascinating duel again, you know.
Yes.
Because Hakimi is every bit as fast as Mbappe, a bit like Kyle Walker. So that's going to be really interesting duel there. And Ziyech is a very talented player. They've got him back in the fold.
Yes.
They seem to have a great team spirit. And their work rate is phenomenal, Eamon.
Yeah.
It really is. So France are, without any doubt, are going to have a difficult game. You got to give the goalkeeper a mention as well. Bono, he's been very, very good. Yeah. I thought Portugal were a little bit unlucky, Eamon. Yeah. Bono made some great saves, and then Pepe at the end missed a chance. Missed a chance from 3 yards.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could have gone their way. Fernandes hit the crossbar. Portugal didn't get the look on the day, but for all the reasons that John and I have just given there, this is why Morocco are going to be a really tough opponent for the French.
Right, now let's look at the other semi-final. John, Argentina, Messi has done the damage against the opposition. The rest of them, well, there's not much that I can say that's positive. One of them is actually out of the game because he was sent off or got a second yellow card the other night. The guy who plays on the left side of midfield, whose name I can't remember now, but he's not going to make much of a difference. They play Croatia, who, with Modric, at 37, player of the tournament so far, I'm sure in all our opinions, but certainly a candidate to be player of the tournament. You could argue that Messi has been the most influential player. What do you make of this match, John?
Well, I mean, if they didn't have Messi,
they'd have nothing.
Like most things, I wouldn't fancy them at all.
Yeah, right.
But he's so good and has been so good. He's scored a few vital goals for them. He's been in the play. Croatia have Modric.
Yes.
Who is an absolute. I don't know how to talk about him. He's so good. Every time I see him, he gets better. He was absolutely brilliant the other night.
Yes.
I mean, got on the ball in the right position. Yes. I was talking about positional sense again. You know, if anybody wants to see anybody with positional sense, watch Modric play. He drifts into positions. He doesn't seem to take much out of himself. Gets on the ball. Always makes the right decision on the ball. Absolute inspiration for Croatia. There's no doubt. Absolutely brilliant. Argentina, I quite agree with you there, Eamon. If it wasn't for Messi, I'd say very, very ordinary.
Yes.
Going to be a very, very close game. Croatia don't have that much up front. That's the thing. But they've come. They don't give much away either.
No.
But a very, very hard match to call. I'd probably go for Argentina because of Messi.
Yes. Liam, Croatia got to the World Cup final last time, and John has been rightly praising Modric so lavishly, really, and he deserves it, doesn't he? He's just, and he's done it for Real Madrid season after season. I don't know how many Champions League medals he's got, but he is one of the best players we've ever seen, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely, Eamon. Yeah, if you say who's the best midfield player, you've had Messi and Ronaldo as front players or attacking players, but if you were to say who's been the best midfield player over the last 10 years, well, he's head and shoulders above anybody,
Yes.
And John described him brilliantly there, how he gets time and how he gets space just by having that, football intelligence.
Yes.
The other thing that sometimes people forget about is that he gets the ball back for Croatia as well, Eamon. He nicks it in situations, or he intercepts it. He knows what the other midfield player is going to play it, and he can sometimes move into a position where he can intercept it and get it back for Croatia. So defensively as well, in a midfield position, he's excellent. And he's got two really good teammates in there with him.
Yeah.
Kovacic and Brozovic.
Yes.
They play really well together. If you would ask me who's got the best midfield in the tournament, it has to be Croatia.
Yeah.
But as John pointed out, up front, they're a bit weak.
Yes.
There's no Mandzukic anymore. He was a brilliant centre forward for Croatia. They haven't got him. They've tried a number of players, Kramaric and Petikovic, I think his name is. Petikovic, the lad who got the goal. They all seem to be big, not very mobile, not very skillful. So that's where, they've had their problems. But they don't give much away, Eamon. The goalkeeper has been brilliant. Livakovic, the back four. Have you noticed this guy playing with the face mask, Guardiola?
Yes.
He's been absolutely brilliant,
Yeah.
He comes out with the ball with his left foot, and he's making Lovren look a really top player.
Yeah, Lovren.
Yeah.
Lovren always thought he was a top player, but this guy's making him look the real deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, sometimes it is a partnership that works. Whether you're playing up front or you're playing at the back or you're playing in midfield, it's 2 or 3 of you together. So
yes,
Argentina, I find them a very unpleasant team to watch apart from Messi. When he gets the ball, he's lovely. He's always been great. But the others,
I heard you describe. I heard you on Morning Ireland, Liam. Sorry to interrupt you. Describing them as thuggish.
Well, they are, aren't they?
I think they are.
I think every substitute that they put on the other day got a yellow card.
Yeah.
They're the substitutes. They come on to do a job on the opposition. They foul them persistently. They feign injury. They waste time.
Yeah.
They argue with the referee. They nearly caused a riot the other day when that Pazides kicked the ball at the Dutch bench.
Yes.
Now I don't feel sorry for the Dutch because they're when it comes to football, they think they invented it. They're arrogant,
Yes.
So that was a match that was bound to go off. But all through the tournament, I think there's something unpleasant about the Argentinians. Without not taking away anything from Messi, who's had wonderful moments, and his pass for the first goal against the Dutch was sublime. It was sublime.
Yeah, John, there's
I'm just to ask a question, Linda, or yourself. Who's the right back for Croatia?
Juranovic. He plays for
He's
Celtic.
Brilliant.
John. Yeah,
he's brilliant, isn't he?
He's up
brilliant.
And down.
Gets on with the job.
He's up and down all the time, John, isn't he?
Oh, he goes in the right positions. He goes forward at the right time. He used the ball well. He's great pace. I didn't know anything about him. I thought every match he's played in, I think, has been exceptionally good.
Now, John, you've been brilliant throughout this tournament, and the people, the players, and the countries that you've been most praiseworthy of have done really well. Do you see Argentina winning this game tomorrow night against Croatia? I'm not pinning you down because I think they're both difficult matches to call. I actually, France are hot favourites, Argentina are favourites, but we've seen a lot of favourites go under in this tournament. What do you think of Argentina, and factor in the bottle they may or may not have? And also, and it's very important, they've huge amount of Argentinians at the tournament, more than most countries. They have support. The other thing is that for Messi, there's a lot riding on this. He's always been second to Maradona in Argentina because Maradona delivered the World Cup, the Jules Rimet trophy, and that means a lot in Argentina. I think it means an awful lot to Messi because there's a feeling he's resented because he hasn't led Argentina to win the World Cup. What do you think of their chances?
Yeah, I think they have a good chance, Eamon. He's a great player. He can live with the pressure. I think the attitude towards him from anybody, Argentina, for not winning it is very, very unfair.
It is desperately unfair.
He hasn't got great players around him. I think they'll get through. I think they'll beat Croatia.
Right.
I think Croatia don't have enough up front to take advantage of some of the things that Modric does, who's been absolutely carrying them in many ways, in many ways. So I think Messi will do enough, and I think he'll have enough around him to get through it.
And it's worth saying, lads, before they came into the tournament, Argentina had not lost for 36 games, and they are the current holders of the Copa America. They're two fascinating games, and let's hope, and I just put this to you, Liam, finally, because you brought it up there before. We wouldn't want to see that Brazilian referee in a big game again. Sure, we won't see him in the Argentina match, but he was very, very poor, wasn't he?
Yeah, if you judge a player by his performances, don't you? Whether he keeps his place or not. Yeah, should be the same for referees. He had a nightmare. No, I wouldn't have him in the competition anymore. I don't want to see him again.
And France, you're saying France, Argentina, are you?
No, I'm not saying anything. I've got so. And you, by the way, I'm very upset with the amount of praise that you're giving John, and saying he's getting everything right.
Oh no, hold on, hold on. There is no two better observers of this game or analysts of it than both of you. Anywhere,
John and I
anywhere in the world,
in agreement from the outset about Griezmann and about Modric and about all these guys.
Yeah,
and you're just not giving me any praise, Eamon. So I'm not going to give you a prediction.
It's a punishment. I'm sorry, Liam, because my respect and affection for you could not be higher. I think that I'm looking forward to seeing you back on the television, and I look forward to talking to both of you later on the week, I hope on Thursday, to preview the final. And the next time I see you, Liam, next time it's a pleasure for seeing you, I'll buy you some nice drink to make up for my sin. It's the sin of omission. John, you've made him jealous. Are you
Sorry
there,
about that, Liam.
Thanks, guys. It's always a joy to talk to you, whether it's about football or anything else. That's John Giles and Liam Brady, two of the very greatest players in the history of football anywhere in the world, and we're lucky enough that they were Irish.